Hello, I'm Jill at engVid, and today we have a lesson on some expressions in English which are rather informal, casual. Other words to describe them are colloquial, slang. So these are the kinds of words that you would hear people using in everyday conversation with their friends and with their colleagues, not so much in the more formal situations like interviews or meetings with clients. So I've just got a selection of these on the board. So let's have a look, and I'll give you some examples of how each one is used. So, okay, the first one is wicked. So the word wicked, in its usual straightforward meaning, actually means bad or evil, somebody who does something wicked, really bad, a bad person. But in this sense, it's actually the opposite of the real meaning of wicked. It means great. So if somebody likes a television program, for example, they really enjoy it, it's one of their favourites, they might say, oh, that program, it's wicked, meaning they really like it. So it's actually the opposite of the usual, the dictionary definition. Okay, so I think it originated with school children using opposite words just for fun, and this one, you know, got into the general language. Okay, so moving on, we have cool, which has been around for a very long time now. I think maybe from the 1960s onwards. I think it started in America. The straightforward meaning of cool is just a little bit less than cold, if something's cold. But then if it's cool, if the weather is cool, it's not sort of freezing and cold, but it's not hot either. So you've got cold, cool, warm, hot, boiling. You've got the different temperatures. So cool, it's not cold or freezing, but it's maybe just comfortable, but not warm. So cool is a temperature, but also it's been used since the 1960s, I would say, to mean good. It means, you know, oh, that's cool. If it's maybe a bit fashionable or trendy, it's cool. And also if somebody maybe apologizes for something, oh, I'm sorry, I'm 5 minutes late. I do apologize. I hope I haven't been keeping you waiting. Oh, no, it's cool, it's cool. So that kind of use as well. Okay, so then we have brilliant, which is closer really to the meaning of brilliant. Literally means shining, brilliant. If you have a diamond which is shining and reflecting the light, it's brilliant. But generally, in the more casual sense, if something's brilliant, again, a television program that you really like, you can say, oh, that program, it's brilliant. Or sometimes people just use this word automatically without even thinking, you know, and it may not be anything special, but they might just say, oh, brilliant, oh, brilliant, oh, the bus is coming now, we've been waiting 10 minutes for the bus at the bus stop, and then, oh, brilliant, the bus is coming. You just see the bus approaching from a distance. So sometimes people use brilliant in a rather ordinary situation, not to do with something bright and shiny at all. So that it sort of loses its original meaning that way. Okay, so next one, we have two words here together. Dead funny. I mean, the word funny, you know, something that makes you laugh. But if it's dead funny, that means very funny, really funny. It's a sort of intensifier, if you like. Really funny, very funny. But it's a strange one because dead is not a nice word. So you think, why does that make it stronger to put dead funny? I don't know. It's just the way the language has developed. So there it is. You just have to, that's what people say, that's what it means. Nobody can change it, so that's just what it is. Okay, right, so next is cheers, which may be a rather sort of British English kind of word, although there was that television programme from America called Cheers, which was, I think, set in Boston, and it was people in a bar, and it was called Cheers, but many years ago now. But this is what people say in a pub in the UK if they're having a drink, especially if they're sitting down or standing up and it's their first drink, and it's alcohol usually. They say cheers before they drink, a kind of, you know, good health, that sort of thing. But I think it's used more in the UK than perhaps in other countries. But it's one of those words meaning good health, you know, here's to you, sort of thing. So cheers. But people also use it a bit more generally as well. So if you're in the office and you bring somebody a document that they've asked for, or if some post or a parcel has come for somebody, and you see their name on the parcel and think, oh, I'm going that way, so I'll take this to that person's desk and give it to them. You don't have to, but it's a nice, friendly thing to do. So you take the box, they're sitting there at their desk, you say, oh, there's a parcel here for you, Jane. Oh, cheers, cheers. So it's just a way of sometimes saying thank you for doing something, an alternative, in a sort of casual, friendly way. Okay, right, so now we're getting on to some more negative ones. Dodgy. If something's dodgy, it can either mean, oh, it's a bit dubious, a bit doubtful. You're not sure if it's legal, possibly. It could be illegal, whatever it is. You might say, oh, that contract they're asking us to sign, it looks a bit dodgy to me. I don't think, or that company or that person, I'm getting bad vibes. I think they're a bit dodgy. I don't think I want to have anything to do with them. That sounds like a dodgy deal to me. Something that's not quite right. So, and to dodge, if you go by the basic meaning, the straightforward meaning, to dodge is when you move out of the way of something. You know, if someone's about to hit you, you go like that and dodge the punch. Or if some object is flying towards you, you just get out of the way, you dodge it. So maybe a dodgy deal is something you want to get out of the way of. I think that may be the connection there. Okay. And then another negative one, gutted. So in a literal sense, this is what you do if you're preparing some food, like a fish, or maybe a chicken or a fish that has the guts. You know, the guts are the insides of the animal or fish, the intestines, their sort of digestive insides, digestive tract. That's the guts. So to cook and eat a fish or a chicken or anything like that, you have to take the guts out. So you might say, oh, I've got some fish for dinner. I've just gutted it. So that's the literal meaning. You've cut the fish open and you've removed the insides, so you can just cook the meat. But if somebody says, oh, something terrible happened yesterday, I was absolutely gutted. So obviously not literally true, but it upsets the person so much that they feel as if their guts have been ripped out. I mean, that would be horrendous, it would kill the person. But so it's a big exaggeration, really. But that's what gutted means. I was gutted. Oh, we lost the match. Football, we lost the match. I'm gutted. As if, I know it's important to a lot of people to win the football match. Your team, or if you're a player in a team, you want to win. And if you lose, you feel gutted. So you feel you've lost something big, like your insides. So that's the idea of that one. Okay, so, this follows on quite nicely in a strange way. If you're a bit peckish, it means you're feeling hungry. You feel like something to eat. I guess to peck, I think of chickens and hens for this in the farmyard, because with their little beak, they're pecking at food in the farmyard at the farm. So peckish means you feel like eating something, pecking at something. So feeling a bit peckish means it's not a huge hunger, but just feeling like a little snack or something, that sort of thing. Okay. Then this one, if you're knackered, the usage I've heard where it's more, basic, is if a horse becomes very old and it's no use anymore. I mean, you might keep the horse and just look after it in a field, but some people would, especially in the past, they would send the horse away to be killed, because it's just eating and drinking. You're having to spend money on it, looking after it. It's not commercially viable. A terrible thing to think. But, in the past especially, horses were sent to a place called the knacker's yard. I don't know if this is a typically UK kind of thing, but there would be people whose job it was to kill old horses and probably use parts of their bodies for recycling for different purposes. So the knacker's yard was the place to send an old horse when it was no longer of any use. It couldn't be used to pull a cart anymore. It wasn't strong enough for you to ride it, and so on. So it went to the knacker's yard. So the knacker being the person who did the killing. So if somebody says, oh, I'm knackered, I've been working all day, I'm so knackered, and it just means very, very tired, a little bit like an old horse that, has no life left in it. So that's knackered. But of course, it's a big exaggeration again if someone says they're knackered. Unless they're really, really tired, it is a more extreme kind of tiredness. Okay, so I guess if you're knackered, you've had a long day at work, you need to chill or chill out. You need to rest. So chill in the literal meaning, you might chill food by putting it in the fridge, make it colder. So that's one. Or if the weather is chilly with a Y on the end, oh, it's chilly today, isn't it? Meaning cold, quite cold. But if you chill, oh, just chill, I just want to chill, meaning I just want to sit around and relax. Okay, watch television, listen to some music, something like that. And to chill out, also, it's used with the preposition out, which is the same meaning. Also, I think people use chill if someone's getting a bit upset or a bit annoyed. People might say, oh, just chill, cool it. It's a similar idea, cool it, don't get so upset about it. It's not a big issue. Oh, let's just chill. Okay. Right. And then these two here, Kip and 40 Winks, are to do with having a little sleep. So it's not like a long sleep, all night kind of sleep. It's just a short one. I'm just going to have a kip for 20 minutes, something like that, kip. Or I'm just having 40 winks. Winking is when you close your eye like that. So it just means you might close your eye, count to 40, and then open your eye again, or both eyes. 40 winks. It's a very short little sleep. Okay. And kip, well, I'm not quite sure where that word originates. I can't think of any connection with anything else, but so it's just a kip, a little sleep. Again, it may be a very sort of UK type word. Okay. This one also, I think, is quite a UK one, blimey. If you've heard people say it, they might even say it with quite a Cockney accent. Core, with core in front of it. Core, blimey. So core is a way of saying God without saying the name God. It's to avoid saying God, core. And then blimey, it's actually a shortened version of blind me. So to say God blind me is, a risky thing to say, I would think. I wouldn't like to say it, really, because you don't want anybody to blind you, to stop you being able to see. So that's what it is anyway, blimey. It's just a very mild kind of swear word, really, if you're surprised at something. So if if the doorbell rings and there's someone there with big bunches of flowers that you weren't expecting, 10 bunches of flowers, blimey, who sent these? It's a sort of what you say if you're surprised or shocked by something. Okay. Skint. Okay. So skint, it's like the word skinned. So if you have, or with an animal, if again preparing an animal for cooking, removing the skin, taking off the skin, this is a sort of similar idea, but it's skint. It actually means you're short of money. You don't have enough money, either at all or just with you in your pocket or in your bag, in your purse, in your wallet. Oh, I'm a bit skint at the moment. I can't pay for the drinks. Can I borrow some money, or can you pay and I'll pay next time if you're in a pub or a cafe or something? So to be skint means you have no money. And it kind of comes from having your skin removed, which sounds horrible, but that's the idea of it. Okay, right. And then finally, fancy that, with an apostrophe maybe. So if you've been told something surprising, like, oh, you've won some money, suddenly you didn't expect to, but you've won some money. Oh, fancy that. I didn't expect that. So to fancy is to imagine or to wonder. So, oh, just imagine that. Oh, what it's like to win some money when you weren't expecting it. So anything surprising that you're told, you could say, oh, fancy that. So, okay. So I hope that's been an interesting set of words for you, and to give you an idea of how you might use them, or if you hear other people using them, either face to face or in a film or on television, whatever, you'll have a better idea of what they're talking about. Okay, so if you'd like to do a quiz on this subject, just go to the website engVid.com and try the quiz, test your knowledge, and thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon. Okay, bye for now.